These women are waiting to be interviewed for a job, but the interviewer is 2 hours late. Then a woman arrives pushing her own wheelchair, but two of the women stop her, claiming that they have been waiting there longer than she has. But the woman at the front of the line scolds the two women, asking them to be empathetic, because the woman is pregnant. But the two women claim that pregnancy is not an illness, and she should go to the end of the line. And the candidate continues to defend the woman, claiming that they can't act this way with her, and the two women mock her, saying that she has become a defense attorney and questioning whether she works at the company by any chance. As the three women continue to argue, the pregnant woman ends up dropping a $100 bill on the floor, not even realizing that she dropped it. And the two women are complaining about the slackness of the first applicant and the pregnant woman. Soon after, a company employee appears and greets the women. He explains that they have been selected for the job interview, and that he will call them by name, and they can enter as he calls. The first two women called raise their hands to mark their presence. But before they go in, the other two candidates protest, claiming that they were there before the wheelchair woman. But the woman interrupts them, arguing that she has two reasons to be given preference when entering. But one of the candidates claims that she has two reasons not to be there, and claims that because she is pregnant and in a wheelchair, she is not fit to work. But the first woman defends her, because she knows that she deserves to be respected. And the two women point out that the job opening is for a receptionist, not a lawyer, and that she should take care of her own life. Then the clerk calls the two remaining applicants. And one of them ends up finding the money on the floor that the other woman had dropped. While one of the women enters, the other tries to get the job by means of seducing the company's employee, claiming that her resume is the best of all. She explains that she has recently arrived in the country, and that she deserves a better opportunity to grow in life. But the man is not carried away and claims that she will go through the interview. Already inside the company, when one of the candidates enters and sits in her seat, and when the woman tries to contest, the candidate claims that her name is not written on the couch. Meanwhile, the woman in the wheelchair is looking for her money in her purse and can't find it at all. She tells the candidate that her money is gone, and it was the only money left she had to leave, and the first candidate gives her some money she has in her pocket so that the woman can go home after the interview, and they agree to exchange numbers so that the money will be returned later. Meanwhile, the other two women are just watching, claiming that now there is a person who distributes money around, that now they know who to ask for money if they need it. And one of the women suggests that if the wheelchair woman is so needy, she should sell her wheelchair and crawl out, or she should ask money to the father of the child she is expecting, since he had the courage to get a wheelchair user pregnant. The other woman suggests that the wheelchair user should go for government assistance. They continue to berate the pregnant woman in the wheelchair, claiming that she can't do anything, but she can make a child in a wheelchair, and both laugh at their own jokes. While the first candidate just thinks about how they can't get enough of being mean, the woman doesn't care what she says, and tells her to find some cleaning to do. The woman says that the two of them have no respect at all, but they just tell the woman to find something to do. Then, she ends up calling for the employee, asking if there is a bathroom nearby, because she is not feeling very well. The employee points out where the restroom is for her, and the woman thanks him by pushing her wheelchair in the direction indicated. One of the candidates says that she doesn't even know how she can go to the bathroom if she is a wheelchair user and needs help, and tells the first candidate to accompany her, since she won't even be selected for the position. Then the first candidate, very attentive, realizes that the woman had taken the money that the wheelchair user lost. So the woman gets very angry about this, claiming that she is out of her mind and is just jealous of her and her friend, because they are different. But the candidate is not afraid, and accuses her, saying that she saw her putting the money in her purse. While they are arguing, the other candidate walks up to the employee, and continues to talk about herself, that she is a newcomer in the country and is not very adapted to the weather. But the man ignores the woman's speech and calls the two arguing women's attention. He complains that they are making too much noise and asks them all to sit down and be quiet. And the woman complains to her friend about the scene she made. Then she asks what time the interview will start, and begins to say that poverty has caught up with her, because she is feeling very heavy, and wonders if it will take long. The employee asks them to stay calm, because the owner of the company is already arriving to interview the candidates. After a while, the owner of the company appears and dismisses the employee, and the two women realize that it was the woman in the wheelchair. Then the woman says that the interview began at the door of the company, where she was able to analyze each one of the candidates, and that it was already clear that the vacancy will not be theirs. She is sad to know that there are more people like them in the world, who think that a wheelchair user who is pregnant can't work, and even more sad to think that a wheelchair user can't have a child. The owner asks them to stop and analyze their own lives, then says that she has nothing more to say to them both. Then she thanks the other candidate, because she had respect and goodwill, and says that this is the kind of person she wants in her company. The owner had done this test to know exactly the kind of person who is working for her, and if the kind of person she is looking for is like the first candidate, and congratulates her for the attitude. And the boss continues to say that the attitude of the other two were very awful, because besides mistreating a wheelchair user and a pregnant woman, they also took money from others, and that she knew this, because it was also part of her test. The woman leaves, because she doesn't want to make trouble for herself. But when her friend wants to leave, she is stopped by the owner of the company, who already knows that the money is with her and asks her to give it back. The boss congratulates the candidate once again for her good attitudes, knowing that she must have had an incredible upbringing to have such a good heart.